Good morning, everyone. The Delaware County Commission meeting for April 30th, 2018 is now in session. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning. To my right is fellow Commissioner Vice President Barb Lewis, and to my left is fellow Commissioner Jeff Benton. Our clerk today is Jennifer Walraven, and Mike Fulmer, our administrator. With that, let's begin.
Resolution number 18-466, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held April 26, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-466. Mr. Merrill? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do not have any public comment or elected official comment today, but item number 4 is a recognition of some Job and Family Services employees.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm David Dombrowski with Job and Family Services, and we are here today. I wanted to recognize a couple of my employees who have done some outstanding work on behalf of Delaware County. In 2015, when I first came here, we did not have a dedicated fraud unit, fraud being investigating intentional program violations or different errors the clients make for public assistance, whether it be food stamps, OWF, Medicaid, child care. And so in late 2015, early 2016, we hired, well, Allison was an existing worker, but we transferred her over to the fraud unit. And that unit is currently supervised by Sherry Melvin. And if you recall, in 2016, we received an award from the state of Ohio, increasing our SNAP benefit recovery. We were the third most improved in the state of Ohio in 2016. And then this year, just last week, we received a second award. The number of SNAP intentional program violations that we were able to establish, so that is what you would consider to be true fraud, we increased by 1,200%. There were 0 IPVs established in 2016, and we went to 12 in 2017. So that is solely dedicated to the work of Allison and Sherry. So I wanted to have them explain a little bit about what they do. It's timely because the month of May is fraud awareness. So we actually have some giveaways for you guys. We will also be giving these away at First Friday, just to bring attention to the issue of food stamp and public assistance fraud. So I'm going to ask Allison and Sherry to come up.
Thank you.
Hi, Sherry Melvin, Supervisor.
Thank you, David.
There's not a lot I can say. A couple years ago, we were able to hire Allison as our fraud worker. David and Angela have been very supportive and helpful. We hired Allison, and she took off with it. She had very little training. We sent her to a few other counties, and she's done a fantastic job, and I'm very proud to be her supervisor, and I'll let her explain a little more about it.
Good morning.
Morning.
So last year, 2017, we collected $2,083 on intentional program violation claims, and of that, 35% went back to the agency, which is a total of $729 for the intentional program violations, which I think is good concerning the previous year. We had 0. So I think increasing by 1,200% was really a proud moment for us. And also, there's claims that are called inadvertent household errors, or IHE claims. And the agency earns 20% on those claims, and we collected over $50,000 on those last year that went back to the agency. So that's another thing that we're proud of. Thank you for your time.
Oh, I think it's wonderful. It's I remember when you told us about this year, I thought, oh my gosh. This is something, too, that when people realize that there is an active fraud unit, you're going to think twice.
Yep.
And no, I thank you so much, both Allison and Sherry. You've just done a fabulous job here. Thank you.
Mr. Benton?
Yeah, it's great. You know, great motivation, great work on behalf of the county and the state. I guess I had a couple questions. Who are the fraudsters, and you know what happens to them once they get caught?
That's a good question.
Well, the people who would do the intentional program violations, we've had a couple of those go to the prosecutor's office, and so they've taken care of that issue. A couple of those were people who were selling their SNAP benefits. We had one case where a woman wasn't reporting her husband was in the home when he should have been reported as being in the home. So those ones, the more serious ones with larger dollar amounts, those go to the prosecutor's office for them to review to see what action they would like to take.
How do you catch them?
Yes, that's what I wondered.
Maybe we shouldn't publicize that.
Yeah, I know.
It really just depends. Sometimes we get anonymous complaints to the agency. Some people call in and just say, hey, I hear my neighbor's getting benefits and they shouldn't be because their husband's living in the home, or maybe it's someone who had approached them and said, this person's trying to sell their SNAP benefits. And so they say, that's not right. I don't believe that they should be selling their SNAP benefits. If they need them, then they should be using them for themselves. So then we go and we look at their card history usage, things like that, to see if there's anything suspicious going on there. And then the police often will go in and look at security footage at the different stores that they go to and make sure that they're actually the one using the card if there's anything suspicious going on. So that's how we kind of go through it like that. We get anonymous complaints a lot of times for those cases.
Good. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Yeah, we know there's abuse, we know there's a lot of abuse, and I'm sure we get no repayment from these people once they're caught. I'm guessing that very seldom happens. We do?
So we do two things, depending on what the amount is and depending on whether or not they're currently on benefits. So if they're currently receiving benefits, we do what's called a recoupment, so their monthly allotment goes down until the repayment is satisfied. If they're not on benefits, then Allison works with them to set up a repayment plan. The one that she referenced where the husband was in the home, that ended up to be a $10,000 roughly claim. There was abuse in food stamps. I believe there was abuse on the Medicaid side, and there was abuse on the child care side. And so that one, interestingly, was repaid in full. So we have done a pretty good job of collecting back the funds. And as Allison had said, we do get to keep a percentage of those back into the county. So she's done a really nice job. The one thing she failed to mention as well is sometimes we get alerts on cases through our automated database matching. And when Allison sees things that seem a little bit off, then she herself goes in and digs in and tries to uncover what's going on with the case. So she sold herself, I think, a little bit short in that she does a lot of investigating on her own just based on alerts and other things that we find that don't come to us through tips from outside folks.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
The phones, is that handled by JFS, the cell phones that are made available to people that are on
Welfare
welfare recipients? Or is
So,
that handled by another department?
Those are affectionately referred to as Obama phones.
Well,
Is that the one you're referring
I
to?
wanted to use that term.
Okay,
And I
but-
probably would have before I got through.
The phones for low-income folks are available to our people, but we don't do anything with that program. That's not our program. We don't advocate that program, and we don't do any advertising for that
I
program.
have been told, right or wrong, maybe, that they quite often are used by people involved in the drug, and used
Yeah.
illicitly, that,
I can't say one
and
way or another.
I've heard that, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Great work. I think Commissioner Lewis made the point, we never know, you'll never know about all the cases, but the fact you're out there trying to collect will discourage some people who might be debating whether to cross that line or not. So thank you for the work you're doing, appreciate it.
Had you done this previously?
No, I've never worked in fraud before. I was a caseworker.
You're, okay. Oh, that's great, boy. Good job. Wonderful job. Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Yeah, thank
Thanks
you.
for coming over.
Resolution number 18-467, in the matter of approving purchase orders and announce certificates and payments for in batch number CM APR 0427.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 18-467. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-468, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 18-468. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-469, in the matter of a transfer of a liquor license request from Concordian LLC, doing business as Cloud 9 Bar and Grill, to ICG of Ohio, doing business as Shorty's Pizza and Growl, and forwarding to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control with no objections and no request for a hearing.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion, vote?
Vote on motion 18-469. Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-470, in the matter of approving an agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Auditor, Nover Engelstein and Associates Incorporated, for software for the Auditor's Office Weights and Measures Department.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. George Kaisa, Delaware County Auditor. Commissioners, I would like to begin by again thanking you for the appropriation that you provided a couple of weeks ago to support the acquisition of this software. This is the contract or the agreement with Nover Engelstein and Associates for our weights and measures software. It is used, as I mentioned before, by most of the major metropolitan counties, including Franklin, Cuyahoga, Hamilton, and Montgomery. The cost for the licenses are $12,800. The installation cost and training is $8,550 for a total cost on the contract of $21,350. And then we'll have the annual maintenance cost of $3,140. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions or comments?
No?
Vote.
Vote on motion 18-470. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Commissioners, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Resolution number 18-471, in the matter of approving amendment number 1 to amendment order for the agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Auditor, and Superior LLC for One Solution and Track It Software.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jenna Jackson, the Economic Development Coordinator. This is for the Track It software. This is to remove the Blue Beam licenses, which the county already had outside of the contract, so we're removing it from this contract.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-471. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 18-472, in the matter of approving the contract between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Department of Job and Family Services, and Harris, McKesson, and Brennan Incorporated for the purchase of Right Fax Support Services.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Good morning again, Commissioners. David Dombrowski with Job and Family Services. So this contract is a standard maintenance agreement it's the second year of a contract that supports Right Fax, which digitizes our faxes and sends them to individuals' emails. So it actually gives us greater access, so we're not tied or tethered to a fax machine.
Questions or comments?
Yeah, is this a change from the prior one, David?
It's a slight increase for the second year. Based on Windows 10 upgrade that is occurring now over at Job and Family Services through the state, they've done a little bit of additional work for us in terms of moving over to a new server. So that's what you're seeing is a little bit of the increase in cost.
It was budgeted?
It was budgeted.
This one would be a good one for a countywide contract. I assume other areas are using this as well. Again,
Yeah, we've
that's
used
not
it
your
for...
call, but I was just curious.
Yeah, we've used it for many years. We find it to be very beneficial, but I'm not 100% sure if others are using it.
Other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-472. Mr. Merrill? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
David.
Resolution number 18-473, in the matter of approving a transfer of appropriations for the Regional Sewer District.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Good morning. I'm Gina DeWitt from the Regional Sewer District. This transfer is just to move appropriations that we have designated for an arc flash study. The study was originally budgeted as a capital item, and after a discussion with the auditor's office, we decided it was better to be under services and charges.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Yep.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Sorry, what did you say at the end there? I lost you. You better,
It was better categorized under services and charges.
oh, okay. So it was budgeted. Okay.
It was budgeted, yes.
Vote on motion 18-473. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-474, in the matter of certification of delinquent accounts for county auditor for accounts to be assessed to payable year 2019 taxes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
This is our quarterly assessment of delinquent accounts. Per resolution, we certify accounts each billing cycle once they're 90 days past due, and the amount exceeds $25. This quarter's delinquent assessments are $2,400 less than the previous billing cycle.
Questions or comments? We've discussed this before, and it's always frustrating when you see we have to take this step. I'd like
Right.
to see people be a little more,
Stay on time.
yes. Vote?
Vote on motion 18-7474. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
When I read item number 13, I'm going to leave out one that was pulled from the engineer's office, so, just so you don't think I'm skipping one, we've removed one. Resolution number 18-475, in the matter of approving owner's agreement for Sycamore Trails and Lackey Old State Road widening the Pines, Section 1.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. The Sycamore Trails is a new 18-lot subdivision off of Africa Road, just across from Brookview Manor, south of US 36. The agreement, the owner's agreement is our standard agreement for the on-site construction of the streets and stormwater infrastructure. We're still working on the widening agreement, which is what Jennifer referred to. So this would only be approving the on-site portion of that subdivision. And then the Lackey Old State Road widening for the Pines. The Pines is in total 176 lot subdivision off of Lackey Old State, just south of Berlin Station Road. So a big subdivision there. And this agreement is only for the widening of Old State Road for the left turn lane. So we have not yet done the on-site street and stormwater agreement yet, but we'll bring that shortly.
The Pines, does that road already exist into the subdivision?
It does not. It's, if you're familiar where the new AEP substation is, it's very close to that.
Okay, so this would be a new road, and they got to widen south, or Lackey Old State,
That's correct.
part of that, okay.
Okay, other questions or comments? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-475. Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-476, in the matter of establishing maintenance bonds for Scioto Ridge Crossing, Section 1 and 2, and approving return of construction security to the owner.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion?
Scioto Ridge Crossing is located near the intersection of Hyatt's and Clarkshaw Road. Sections 1 and 2 were completed late last year mostly, and our staff has done the inspection, and we are recommending turning those improvements over to the developer for a one-year maintenance period, and then at the conclusion of that 1 year, those streets would be made public.
Questions or comments? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-476. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-477, in the matter of approving the plat of subdivision for Carter's Farm.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion?
This is a small three-lot subdivision located off of Carter's Corner Road. I believe it's a common access drive subdivision. The plat's been approved by all the required agencies, and we're recommending your approval.
Vote on motion 18-477. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-478, in the matter of approving right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, discussion?
A lot of permit requests. This round, we had 10. This is all typical kind of routine work, so we're recommending your approval.
There are a lot compared to typically we get 2 or 3 or 4.
Yes.
Any questions or
Yes.
comments? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-478. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
I just had one
Okay.
question. Rob, here we go on Red Bank Road and Smothers. I noticed, and it's as though the whole Franklin County Engineering Department has shown up on that corner. But I noticed there are a lot of deep holes being dug. What would that be? Like they're square and then pretty deep.
I'd have to check, actually. I know they're working on utility relocation now, so those may be bore holes to relocate the utilities, the underground utilities right
Okay.
now. The road work won't start until, I believe, June
Okay.
June or July.
Yeah.
Our staff attended the pre-construction meeting last week. I wasn't able to make it, but I want to give a schedule update, and I'll be happy to share that with you.
I think you said the intersection was going to be blocked for about, was it 2 months?
Yes, 2 months, and then that is the contract limit. There is a provision for early completion to get that back open with an incentive provided to the contractor. So we're hoping for more like 45 days if possible.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Proceed.
Resolution number 18-479, in the matter of approving the renewal and acceptance of the 2018-2019 program costs between the County Risk Sharing Authority and the Delaware County Board of Commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Good morning, Dawn Houston, Deputy Administrator, and I also have with me today Brian Smith with SFM Insurance and Cindy Blair, as you know, who manages our day-to-day insurance and risk. We're recommending your approval of this resolution today. It would approve the purchase order and voucher to Corsa for our 2018-19 program costs. We do have a slight increase of 7.6%, mainly due to our increase in exposure with the new courthouse, which is, you know, a wonderful facility and, you know, definitely is a fair increase, I think, in relation to the new structure. We were able to get back approximately $36,000 in credit toward our member equity, as well as our loss control incentive program, which I think you probably have heard a lot about over the years. Loss control is definitely key to keeping our program costs down. And this past year, we had 85%, actually more close to 90% of our employees go through a cybersecurity training for cybersecurity awareness. And that was in large part due to Auditor Kaitza and Steve Lewis, our IT director. And we continue to train all new hires just to be aware of cybersecurity. Probably have also seen many emails come out from time to time about just the awareness factor where that's concerned. We participated in many building inspections for safety purposes, as well as offered training to our elected officials and department directors and supervisors, which also contributed toward our 100% in achieving the loss control incentive. So I'm going to have Brian talk a little bit about some of the enhancements that Corsa is offering us this year.
Thank you. Again, Brian Smith, SFM Insurance. I do want to say Don and Cindy do a fantastic job on the loss control incentive program. Not all counties receive 100% of that credit, but they have consistently done that. It's a lot of hard work and coordination, and it should go noted. The biggest thing with the enhancements this year, the Corsa has changed the general liability form from a claims-made form to an occurrence form. So coverages stay the same, but it's how a claim is reported and when it can be reported. So in the past, or up until May 1st, a claim had to be presented within that policy year or with an extended reporting period of that policy year in order for it to be covered. Going forward, it doesn't matter when the claim will be presented. It will always go back to that actual policy year when the situation actually occurred. Typically, when you switch from a claims-made form to an occurrence form, there's a spike in insurance cost. But with the member equity and the financial position of Corsa, they were able to make that move at no additional cost to the counties they insure. So a big benefit to you guys. Outside of that, just some minor changes, some increased drone coverage, and some enhancements into the loss control programs.
Just to clarify a point, I'm not an expert in this area. Making this change, if there had been a suit filed 3 years ago, are you saying we would not have been covered?
No, that's if we would have discontinued the Corsa coverage, we would have had an extended reporting period in order for that to be covered. Had it gone past that extended reporting period date, then there would be no coverage. So when we switch from an occurrence form to a claims-made form, or we move from carrier to carrier, we always want to make sure that there's an extended reporting period that's going to be long enough and sufficient in order for past claims that we don't know about to be presented and covered. So moving forward, the way Corsa has handled this, there's no issue with the look-back period.
Any other questions?
We've got a lot of facilities changes coming up in the next couple years. You know, we're going to renovate our courthouse, we're going to sell the old jail, we're going to sell a lot of the individual properties we own and get in the career center. I mean, so we've got a lot of changes coming. Does it, in general, benefit us to have one location, the career center, versus 6 or 7 smaller locations like those?
From an insurance standpoint, it does not matter. With the blanket coverage that we have with the county, in the event we had an issue with one individual facility, our blanket limit, meaning the sum of all of the property values, is what we can use. So we're not limited to just that building value. So from a risk perspective, from a facilities perspective, it's better to have 6 different buildings because you know you have coverage for each individual building and what those limits are. However, with the blanket, that takes it away because we can use the total blanket limit for any one or all buildings at any one time. So I think it goes back to what's more efficient for the county and not on the insurance side.
Now, as buildings are sold or whatever, do we see the benefit of that fairly quickly, or is that something that's...
Absolutely. So as buildings come off, we'll see reductions in the premium during that year. Typically, we see the major changes right at the renewal date. So when we added the courthouse last year, we saw a little bit of an increase in premium because of that. And then as you start getting rid of and selling some of these buildings, we'll see the result as well.
Yeah, I'll ask this question carefully. Bureaucracy sometimes gets in the way. Are we good as a county of letting you know when those changes occur?
Absolutely, yes. Again, Cindy and Don do a phenomenal job communicating with us.
Thank you very much. Other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-479. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
That brings us to,
Well, we have a couple minutes before we can start our public hearing.
I'm pretty sure between Mike Fromer and fellow commissioners, we can fill 2 minutes.
Okay.
Mr. Fromer.
I have nothing to report.
Oh,
I'll let you guys do the 2 minutes, so. Oh, you guys got that easily.
Yeah.
Commissioner Lewis.
All right. On Bridges Community Action Partnership meeting, which I attended last week, one of the programs that has been most successful for them is a program in which low-income families receive help calculating their taxes. And in Delaware, we had 633 tax returns prepared, and the total tax prep fees that were saved for these people were $164,580. And actually, the total collected in taxes for Delaware people who had Bridges calculate, these are all volunteer accountants and who are doing this too, but the total for Delaware was $1,698,245. The total for all the counties, there are 6 counties in Bridges, the total was a little over $6 million in taxes that were collected as a result of these volunteers volunteering their time to help people. They volunteered a total of 1,300 hours, so great example of a great program. And I'll give it back to you. I know there's some football news you want to talk about.
Oh, I missed, leave that to Mr. Benton.
Okay, yeah.
Mr. Benton.
Just a couple things. The Legends Luncheon for the Memorial Tournament is tomorrow. And the honoree, the guest this year is Hale Irwin. I'm sure everyone knows who Hale Irwin is. or at least some of us know who Hale Irwin is. He's a winner of the Memorial and a winner of a very successful tour, a player for a number of years, a couple decades, 3 decades probably. So anyway, he's going to be there, and that's always a thrill to see these legends at this luncheon. And this is kind of a fundraiser for the Memorial Tournament and Children's Hospital, so it's a great event every year. And then I wanted to also mention that Bob Lamb expanded his family over the weekend. He had a son named Owen, so we want to congratulate Bob and his wife Christina on the successful birth of Owen and welcome him into the world. So everything went well, and I'm sure Bob will be out for a few days, so that's all I got.
Mr. Lewis mentioned something about sports. Is there anything you want to mention in that regard?
The Browns drafted a really good defensive back at number 4, a guy out of Ohio State. So that's all the big news out of the Browns.
Well done, well done. I wasn't going to bring it up. Mr. Lewis kind of put us both on the spot there, didn't she? Being a University of Oklahoma graduate, obviously I'm a fan of Baker's, and I think he'll fit in great at Cleveland, and I think he'll make a difference. We'll find out in about 3 years.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, right.
It can't be any worse.
It can't be. That's 0-16. You can't go 0-18.
I don't know, wouldn't say that.
And I really have nothing else to add, other than I will make a comment regarding those tax preparations. With the tax law changes, I think we should see some simplification that will make it much easier on some low-income families to file going forward, and I think that's a benefit to all of us, a more simplified system. So we'll see how that plays out over time. We'll know later. But with that, I believe we've managed to get past the 10 o'clock hour. And
We can open our hearing, and then we'll suspend the rules, and then we will let Rob Riley go from there.
Ready, Rob?
Resolution number 18-480, public hearing for consideration of a petition filed by Jason Warner for the vacation of a never-improved unnamed alley located east of County Road 605 near Hartford Road and County Road 605 in Trenton Township under the special procedures of Revised Code 5553.042.
So moved.
Second.
motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-480. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
And resolution number 18-481, in the matter for approving for a specific occurrence a suspension of Rule 3, speaker registration, Rule 4, limits Rule 5, or Rule 7, public comment procedure from the rules governing public comment before the Board of County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-481. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
An alley vacation is a little unusual for all of us. So I am going to go through the guidelines we'll follow today. And so welcome to the hearing for the consideration of the vacation of a never-improved unnamed alley located east of County Road 605 near Hartford Road and County Road 605 in Trenton Township. We'll hear a report from the county engineer, or county engineer's office. We'll take questions from the board. We'll hear from all those in favor of the petition for vacation. We'll hear from all those opposed to the petition for vacation. And during testimony, you'll be asked to take an oath. We'll continue back and forth if new information comes up or additional people wish to speak. We'll take questions from the board. And after listening to the testimony and the report of the engineer, the board finds that the alley has been abandoned and not used for a period of 21 years. The board, by resolution, may order the alley vacated, and the alley shall pass in fee to the abutting landowners as provided by law. Is there a petition that you pass around during,
There is a sign-in sheet. Yes.
sign-in sheet? I don't think I mentioned that, did I? I
Maybe.
believe it's on here.
Okay.
So please sign the signing petition if you're going to be part of this hearing as it goes around the room. And with that, I believe we'll turn it over to Mr. Riley.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. As you recall from the viewing last week, This matter concerns a platted alley off of County Road 605 now, formerly State Route 605, County Road 605. We have been working with the petitioner's surveyor to develop the survey for the vacation of this alley. I will state that we have no objection to the vacation of this alley. However, we do have some survey issues to work out, and without getting too deep into the weeds on survey matters, we need a little bit more time to work out to get the survey correctly showing the existing county road easement relative to the alley. So we are recommending a continuance while we work that out. Hopefully we can resolve that within a matter of a week or two at most. So I would defer to Jennifer on
We
schedule.
have been in discussion with our prosecutor's office. We can continue today with testimony from any landowners that are here, and then when the board is ready to continue, we have a date certain that we can continue the hearing to for a decision.
We'll deal with the date at the end of this. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of the petition for vacation? Yes.
Commissioners, my name's Jack Reynolds. I'm an attorney with Smith & Hale, and I'm here with the petitioner, Mr. Warren.
I swear you in. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. And again, Jack Reynolds, I'm an attorney with Smith & Hale, and I'm here on behalf of Jason Warner, and he will be testifying here shortly. Just to give you a little background, we did file a petition with you all on, I mailed it March 13th. It was received March 16th. It contained the petition signed by Mr. Warner, included the legal description that the county engineer discussed. I do know that I talked to the surveyor Friday. He got some information, resubmitted the material to the county engineer, so hopefully we'll have this resolved very shortly. Again, it's a request to vacate this alley. It was platted, you know, when you look at it, it's part of the H.H. Kring addition to Condit, Ohio Plat Book 3. So you can only imagine it's probably about 100 years that alley has sat there unimproved. So I think we qualify under 5553.04 for your all's consideration. And I know the good work that Jennifer and Sarah do, so obviously you all have notified the abutting property owners. You've published twice in the Delaware Gazette notice of the meeting this morning, and therefore, obviously, we've met those requirements under the Ohio Revised Code, and I don't think that Mr. Martin was able to make it this morning, but you all received a letter back in November of 2017 from Thomas Martin, who lives at 2758 North Country Road 605, also requesting the vacation of the alley, as his garage sits kind of in the alley itself. So obviously, he would be benefited by the vacation. But let me have Jason step up here and talk to you all about his rationale for vacating the alley.
Good morning.
Go ahead and state your name, and I'll swear you.
Jason Warner.
Jason, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Proceed, Jason.
Yeah, so I was petitioning to have the alley vacated for purposes of construction of a pole barn on my property. The Trenton Township zoning contact said that the requirements in order to do the building the size that I want, which you have, if it's less than 5 acres for the way that the property is zoned, you can do up to a 1,200 square foot building. That building needs to sit on a piece of property that is of at least an acre size, and the property that I have that's contiguous altogether right now is 0.94 of an acre, so I'm not quite to the one. And the back portion of my property, so this alleyway is in between the front portion, which is 0.94, and then there's a larger portion in the back that's the woods and creek and whatnot. I just wanted to have that so I could connect the two to make the property the size of over an acre to put the building up. That's the rationale, reasoning why I wanted to vacate the alleyway. I just had a discussion with Mr. Martin about it because he was trying to do it as well. And I said, you know, we can combine our efforts to try to get this resolved because I can't do the building without getting this done because I can't connect the two because of that alleyway. So that's kind of the rationale behind it.
Anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? Rob, I do have a question. Based on the email we got this morning, there was a right-of-way concern. Would you want to clarify that? All I know is what I've read.
Yes.
Is that going to be protected during this process?
Yes, and that's exactly what we're making sure that will happen with the survey, because, again, the survey becomes the instrument by which the alley is vacated. It describes the exact limits of what's being vacated and what interest is being vacated. So we want to preserve the existing road easement for County Road 605, but basically vacate the underlying fee ownership in the alley.
The current building that was alluded to, is it set in the right-of-way or not?
There is a garage located in the existing alley. Again, we certainly have no objection. We don't think there's any detriment to the public by vacating this alley. Looking way down the road, 40, 50 years, when perhaps this area would be developed like some of our other areas in the county, it's highly unlikely that this alley would be used in its current configuration for any type of road or driveway or anything of that sort to access 605. It's more than likely that the future access will come off of Hartford Road. So again, we don't think there's any future value in having this alley either.
Thank you. I'd like to hear from all those. Well, first of all, is there anyone else who wants to speak in favor of the petition? Is there anyone here, any questions from the fellow? Anyone here who would like to speak in opposition to the petition for the vacation? Morning, Commissioners. Morning.
Morning.
My name's Steve Deem.
Steve?
Yes, sir.
Steve, could swear you in? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Repeat your name. I got the Steve.
Steve Deem, D-E-I-M. My wife and I own 27 acres adjacent to where they want to take the alley. We've owned it for 5 years. We weren't aware of the alley, but now that we are, it could be an asset to us if we divide our property off and someone wants access to State Route 605, they will be able to use the alley if someone chooses to fix it up. If you plug our address into MapQuest and everything, we've had people say that our address comes off of 605 for some reason. We live on Hartford. So obviously that alley has been used in the past. At some point, granted it's been there 110 years, but for 605, for our address to come up over there, that we were wondering why, and I do believe now we found out why, because of the alley. So we were just having concerns of someone just flat out taking it and then losing our accessibility to 605 if we choose to divide our land off and sell it. That's my main concern.
Any questions?
I guess where is your house located then? You have a map. Yeah, you want to just make an X there.
So you're right there, and right now your house fronts, and you have your driveway access on Hartford Road? Okay, okay. And your parcel is one continuous, or one? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead, Gibba. Access has not been an issue for you to this point.
No, we access Hartford Road. But like I said, if we it'd be a good selling point for us if we did have access to State Route 605. If we were to divide our property off, it's a second drive instead of having, we'd have to put a second road in anyway. If we divided it off more than 3 houses, we'd have to have an access to another road, you know, a utility road. So our concern was losing that ability now that we know that the alley's there.
How many acres do you have?
27.
I have our prosecutor's not here today, so I can't ask
We
a
have,
question.
Eric, a different Eric
Different Eric.
today. Eric Pinkel is here from the prosecutor's office if we have legal questions.
First of all, it's my understanding, I assume correctly, that the trustees in the township are supporting this vacation. Is that accurate?
I believe that they are, General, my understanding that some type of vacation petition was attempted to be filed by the township in the past six or 7 months. I think Commissioner Lewis is
Yes.
holding that right now. So
Here it is.
as of that date, it seems as though they were supporting it, but I believe that was done improperly, if I remember correctly. As of today's date, I can't speak to that, but as of, I think that was November or so.
Did you express this concern to the trustees, or are they aware of this concern?
This is the first notification we received. We got it in the mail last week. No trustees come to our house and sat and done anything.
Is there any other questions at this point? Again, we'll need to recess.
We will be continuing the hearing, is what we'll be doing.
So is anyone else who wants to speak in opposition to the vacation at this point? Okay. So we will, thank you.
Wait, I did have a question. How wide is your frontage on Hartford Road?
I don't know the exact numbers. We said,
Roughly? Is it 100 feet, 200 feet, 500 feet?
it's probably 200, 300, 200 feet across.
Okay.
There's, the creek runs in front and then runs down the whole length of the property. So,
I do have a question. This is, one, vacations are unusual for us. That's number one. Number two, now to recess, we will have the ability to take additional testimony when we come back, and okay, it will not be an issue. Okay, just because there were some things to raise here we might need some clarity on, and just want to make sure that we weren't limiting ourselves.
Oh, good question.
Okay. Okay? That's your call. I can't speak to that. You have to make that decision for
will we
yourself.
be notified?
It's very possible you've raised an issue that could raise questions, so that's something you may want to consider.
Will we be notified?
No, you will decide today when that date will be, so this will be the notification.
I see a hand in the back of the room, so, yeah.
Obviously, we're not taking away any access that the folks next door have to a publicly dedicated right-of-way. This is a township alley. It would have to be improved by the township and maintained by the township. So again, with what the township sent to you all, and I know that Mr. Martin and Mr. Warner have contacted the township trustees, and I don't think there is any interest in opening up this alley as a future access point. So again, in terms of the people who are directly abutting the property, we do have Mr. Martin and Mr. Warner who are interested in having it vacated, and all the other folks will be benefited because according to Ohio Revised Code, the alley will be split among the abutting property owners. So if the alley is 15 feet in width, 7.5 feet will go to one property owner and 7.5 will go to the other. So again, there is a beneficial part of this process. As Mr. Warner talked about, he will be able to combine most of his parcels into one larger parcel. And again, we're not taking away access from anybody that currently has access to a publicly dedicated right-of-way. So,
Clarification question. The alley as currently platted does not go onto the Deems property at all?
No.
It ends at
it's a rather interesting T-shaped alley. Again, obviously those limited number of lots were created way back when with the thought of having access to the rear never happened. Somebody took advantage of that access point in the past, as you can see by the garage there, and placed their access point and their garage on that alley. So obviously, we would not like to see it open back up and force the property owner to get rid of the garage or his driveway to his garage.
The current owner is not the one that put the garage there?
I'm not sure. I wish he could have come today.
No, it was there prior to the current.
During the title survey.
So thank you all for your time.
I understand. We just want to make sure we have all the information so we make a proper
Absolutely.
decision. and
Absolutely.
Your comments are appreciated as one speaking in behalf and opposed. Our goal is to do what's the appropriate and right thing. So we just make sure we have everything we need to ensure that that's the result. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we read the continuance?
Yes, and I have a date of
okay.
Monday, May 14th at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Resolution number 18-482, in the matter of continuing the public hearing for consideration of a petition filed by Jason Warner for the vacation of a never-improved unnamed alley located east of County Road 605 near Hartford Road and County Road 605 in Trenton Township under special procedures of Revised Code 5553.042. And again, that's Monday, May 14th at 10 a.m.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-482. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
So we'll be continued to May 14th on that. And I believe that takes us to executive session.
Executive session. Resolution number 18-483, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment, promotion, compensation of a public employee or public official, and to consider the purchase of property for public purposes.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-483. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We are now in executive session.
Resolution number 18-484, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 18-484. Mr. Merrill? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
If there is no other business to bring before us, we are adjourned.